Did you know the Skywalker Saga almost has every skin for each character seen in the films, including Palpatine, which has the Senator and Supreme Chancellor appearances, but you probably didn't notice that this is the only skin that has a golden lightsaber handle in the game. That's because the real model seen in the films was coated in the material Electrum, a special gold-like substance that would also be used on Jedi lightsabers once they become masters. Mace Windu also had a bit of this on his hilt, but didn't get a color change in game. Even in this cool idle animation, the extra lightsaber isn't gold, so a nice detail that really helps the skin stand out. But you probably noticed that the Emperor's stance is a little different to his other appearances. That's because they also modeled a lot of his and other characters' animations off movie references. Nearly every main character has a special pose or jump animation, and sometimes even their attack combos mimic signature moves, which is pretty cool. Dooku has a more fencing strike pattern mixed in with a bit of lightning, while Darth Vader's attacks are a lot heavier, including a force choke, and can even block without using a lightsaber. But for characters we didn't get to see fight like Snoke, they still gave them unique attacks focused around what fighting styles they would use. There's so many little references and unique animations across the characters that it would take way too long to list them all, but it's nice to see they put a lot of effort in this aspect of the game. LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga also has a secret in its combat system, not including the air attacks and counter moves, which look awesome in their own right. Generally speaking, each character has around 3 combos with 2 different animations. Repeatedly pressing the attack button will perform the basic combo that does the least amount of damage, but chaining the attacks will perform the unblockable perfect combo, which makes the lightsaber glow. The perfect combo also has different variations depending on when you end it as well, but you probably didn't know that there's a secret 4th combo in the game that doesn't make your lightsaber glow. Shout out to ChanceAndTyler for showing this. By tapping the attack button twice quickly, then timing the 3rd swing, you will perform the secret 4th combo. And since every character's swing pattern is slightly different, everyone gets a unique version of the combo. Plus, some characters even get a backstab animation, which is pretty cool. It's a shame they didn't continue this trend in LEGO Star Wars 3, instead replacing it with just one continuous combo, although the attack animations still look clean. The cover art for LEGO Star Wars 3 uses the wrong General Grievous. This model is actually his first minifigure from the complete saga, while this is how he looked like in the Clone Wars. Asajj Ventress on the cover also uses her toy's head instead of the in-game model. In fact, all characters with faces in LEGO Star Wars 3 were changed to have normal LEGO eyes, as the actual minifigures from the Clone Wars line were bigger and cartoony to match the animation style. Not gonna lie, some of these kinda look ridiculous, and I can imagine the devs weren't fans of these designs either, which is probably why they changed them. Though, it's weird they decided on the box art to keep Ventress's toy model the same while Ahsoka uses her in-game version. Actually, never mind, so glad she got updated in future models. Probably the only case I actually prefer the animated series version is with Savage Opress and Darth Maul, which sadly never made it in any video game because of this change. On that note, the models in LEGO games are mostly based off official minifigure toys sold, which is why you can see the model numbers on the different character parts. And in cases like Asajj Ventress, where her latest minifigure from 2015 uses the Micro Series appearance, which isn't canon anymore, the devs are kinda stuck with the one look. Now, I actually really like this appearance of Ventress, even if it's not the official design anymore, but I can't say the same with the latest Droideka model they had to go with, which looks nothing like the real thing. The past 2 versions also didn't look the best, but at least they had a similar shape to the original design. This also goes for the brick-built probe droid in the Skywalker Saga, which is such a downgrade to the previous versions. Although it was a special release, it still looks very boring. But thankfully, most other characters' minifigures got way better over time. Basically, all the main heroes and villains in the Skywalker Saga look better than in previous games, though the old ones still have the nostalgia that brings back so many memories. And although they did add the classical variants for some of the original trilogy characters, I'm sure I'm not the only one who wanted to see way more older figures put in the game, especially for the prequel era. Out of all the minifigures introduced across the years, the B1 Battle Droid never got any changes to its design. Sometimes they came with backpacks, different blasters, and the markings on the droids would be switched around, but other than that, the model stayed the exact same. This is also the case for the B2 Battle Droid, as the only change it ever got was a rocket arm variant. The complete Saga used the very first color shade for both the Geonosis Battle Droid, which was a bit paler to its future versions, and the B2 Battle Droid, which looked more blue, but this is basically the only significant difference across the games. Other droids like Protocols and Astromechs also only got slight improvements to their designs as well, staying nearly the same to how they were 20 years ago. In LEGO Star Wars 3, you can use Lightspeed to jump to other planets in your capital ship. Now, being able to travel inside from the view of the bridge hasn't been replicated to this level in any other LEGO Star Wars game to date, since you can even see the hyper jump from different parts of the ship using a second player. But did you know, in the Skywalker Saga, if you choose to fast travel to another planet while you're still inside any of the massive cruisers, including the Death Star, it'll replace your starfighter with any of the capital ships in the hyper jump cutscene, which is pretty cool. And although you can't see any of this outside the cutscene like in LEGO Star Wars 3, it's still cool seeing these ships jump to Lightspeed. Plus, looking up at the sky from the planet's surface, you can see your cruiser in orbit, which is a nice touch. Hopefully we get another LEGO game that expands on this feature more. Although I said earlier LEGO Star Wars 3's combat is pretty simple, it does have an awesome feature with the Magna Guards where lightsaber heroes can lock in a saber clash combo. Not only is the animation really smooth, but successfully winning the clash would slice the Magna Guard's head off. But just like in the films, they're still alive and playable, making these characters really unique. And as a side note, they even added unique slicing animations for the different battle droids, which looks really cool. So although the Skywalker Saga's combat has more depth, there isn't an option for saber clashes or decapitations with Magna Guards, making them like any other staff unit. Kinda wish they explored more into this feature for other unique weapon users instead of just the one lightsaber clash combo we got. Playing as any ranked soldier in the Skywalker Saga will cause other units from the same faction to salute you. Now, it doesn't really matter if they're the same rank, as any unit above the standard soldier will work. This also goes for Jedi and Sith for the Empire and Republic respectively, as well as characters like Princess Leia for the Rebellion. Plus, playing as these respective heroes and villains in the story mode will cause the enemies to stop firing and even salute if they're from the same faction. And while Phase 2 clone commanders will be saluted, for some reason it doesn't work with Captain Rex or any of the clones in the Venator. Probably a bug, or they forgot to code it in since they both were DLC. But that's alright, because you can actually salute back at people by holding down the map button on specific maps like Camino. This works for any humanoid character, which is pretty funny to see. Not gonna lie, I thought I remembered seeing characters salute each other in LEGO Star Wars 3, but so far I haven't found a way to do so. Maybe I'm mistaken with this cutscene instead. The Skywalker Saga adopted a very similar class system to Battlefront 2 for the regular infantry. Throughout the game, you'll verse regular troopers, heavies with larger weapons, officers with the pistols, and of course snipers. In the case for the 501st troopers, it almost looks exactly the same, with the only absent unit being the heavy. While the droids have all the same units, including the heavy B1 battle droid that was introduced exclusively in Battlefront 2. Sadly though, for the clones, only the Phase 1 version of these classes are playable, while Phase 2 is locked for enemies. But this isn't the only time the Skywalker Saga took inspiration from Battlefront 2. Find out more in this video here.